Hey cracks, Toma here. I'm going to be going through a recent scrim, kind of just reviewing everything, giving my thoughts on it. Take everything with a grain of salt. I'm no expert, I'm not our team coach like Z, but I figured maybe at least some of this would help. I was really going to do it for like just me, but then I was like, no, let's look at it from a team-wide perspective. So we're going to talk some stuff here, so I'm not over it. And kind of see we'll sit here, let me remember the controls here. So we load out, it looks like we're gonna split up 2 and 2. It looks like me and our crayons are going one way past Glum. Glum does actually join us, so that's good. An opening fight here is good. I do believe Jokura gets a pick here a little bit. No, Glum actually gets that pick. Okay, so this is actually great. So perfect. Okay, so this is a good situation. This is a good opening. 2 down. So now kind of what we want to see, which we'll see here. I'm going to put a cursor on the screen. It's going to be huge, right? Because I don't know how to do this perfectly. Let me get like a tad smaller, right? So now we've gotten 2 down, right? We have 2 more kind of back here. We should see where they are. So ideally we want to see really fast forward movement up into this area. We have 2 down. Ideal situation would be that Glum and Arkrantz go hunt down these 2 people. Pax probably goes over here and sits under this ledge in ideal circumstances at this point until I come and respawn. You do see we're a little bit slow on the uptake. Pax goes down to an unfortunate Booyah Bomb. Not really a whole lot you can do about that. But what I want to note here, it does look like, oh, my cursor. Oh no, what's going on? Okay. Glum decides to go forward. I think that's a good play here. Arkrantz gets a little bit split off from the group, and now that turns kind of a 3v2 situation into a 2v1. So I think that the best thing to do that is find your partner and kind of stick with them. You see here, Glum does get that pick, but now it's kind of just isolated. That lets the Explo and Dokura respawn and come back in. I probably shouldn't have dropped there. That was we were going down. I should have waited for the group. Pax is doing a good job there, poking underneath that ledge, making sure that we can get that rush out. And we're doing a good job of waiting to respawn there. The whale, I'm not sure if we called that. We probably could have moved it a little bit faster with that whale. Unfortunately, just a slider cancel there, not as much we can do about that. But again, it looks like Glum is just a little bit further up than Arkrantz. If you fight that together, you have a little bit better of a chance there. I'm off on my own. I do think this is Gad. This is that really unfortunate moment where I just go a little bit ahead of that Explo and can't pick them. Maybe when it turned out different. See, look, perfect moment there is that once Arkrantz was in firing range with Glum, that arrow spray immediately went down. I think if we just make these plays happen a little bit faster, we'll be in a much better position opening there. It's a good idea to back up here. Unfortunately, the Kraken's gonna do what Kraken does, right? And Reef Slider was a little bit without a plan there. We didn't really have the people up to Reef Slide there. Even if we got the, I mean, yes, we could cap the zone, but we had a better chance of doing it with more people alive, which we can see here. Once more of us are up, we're able to finally get in here. This is a good retake too, and to finally get in and take that zone. Especially Arkrantz did a great job there moving in while that brush is distracted on Pax and able to get those picks. I move around here on the side. I think I just get, I get skill issued by Jokura. Pax, that's a great position to be sloshing from there. Again, unfortunate, kind of just a Booyah Bomb displaces everybody, but that was definitely the right idea there, I think. I move up here, unfortunately don't get the brush, and we kind of just fall into the same kind of splashdown trap. Well, that's an okay trade there. Gets the brush out from underneath there, which we definitely don't want them to be on when we respawn. And now again, we're just trying to make sure these edges are cleared. Pack's good idea there, especially moving with my brush movements to try to make sure those edges get poked out. Just got to keep a bit better of the eye on the brush. I think that we kind of lose track of some of these sharpie weapons at times. And that allows them to get around us and find some picks. This was a good retake here. And again, like, so that was like a full wipe. And we're still kind of like all in mid. I know that they were back pretty fast. Like, what is this, 229? Let me back this up just a tad. So let's go back to like 230. Yeah, so they're 3 down here. We're still all pretty far back. We need to make that call to move up really fast. Well, and you've got the right idea there. Okay, so yeah, wipe out. Okay, I see. It's not as bad. Like, we were jumping back in, but still, I think there's a little bit of hesitation. Like, Lummy pulled back there. I think we just got to run forward, take that space. You can sit there on that right side, about right here. You don't even have to move up as aggressively. Like, you don't need to move up into this area, especially since they were on the respawn. But if you sit around kind of like this corner, you can kind of wait for the brush or someone else to kind of drop and come around here and get a surprise pick on them. Yeah, so see, now we finally moved up, but that brush has already found its way back in. It's going to get some good picks onto us. I do find one on the right, but now you've got this Kraken in a dominant power position to kind of force us back. And yeah, it's going to go ahead and find 2 of us there, and now we're just in a bad situation again. Glum's is Glum a little bit separated there, but does find a pick, so you made a good move out of it. Yeah, honestly, if you could have found the pick onto the brush there, I would have just been an absolute power play. We do end up moving in off that. I think it was like unfortunate positioning, but you did make the best out of that situation, and we were able to get back in off of it, so that's really good. Here, we're definitely not in a position where we can move forward a lot. I think sharking right there is our best option, which we do find a pick off of, and then I just lose, again, the interaction to Jokura, because Jokura is a better brush than I am. But that's okay, that'll come with time. Good avoiding the good jump out there. Honestly, our transfer was really good. That allows us to get repositioned and come back in as a group faster. I dropped here and I tried to jump out. That was unfortunate on my end. I shouldn't have dropped there. Everybody else did a pretty good job. Love, you're doing a great job surviving there in that pit. Again, and we just need to find eyes on that brush, because like, as soon as we know where they are, they go down, we get this re-slider in, we get a really beautiful retake when we know where those kind of Sharpie Slayer weapons are. Plum, I believe this is where, yes, you move up here. This is great. This is what we want to see in those lockout positions. When we get the numbers advantage getting in here, see, now like me and you together, this is really hard for them to stop. Now we can kind of just drop there on screens, we find a pick, and then unfortunately, again, this falls apart because we lost track of the brush. That brush getting behind us can really do a number on us, but we definitely had the right idea there. I think what can potentially help solve that. So lockout positions, right? Normally, if we can get into their base, if we can go either around or on top, that's great. We can hold down this kind of area up here. If we can't get up that far, or if we both are forced to go this way, Pax can watch this left side. If we do get up here, like we did here, we both went up this side, then I think it might be a better idea for Pax to maybe sit over here or in the freezer and try to poke up and kind of be able to watch any entry on this right-hand side. And that's where Arcrant should be as well. Nautilus is going to be that kind of hold space weapon. It's not going to necessarily be our most aggressive weapon on the comp. If me and Glum are already up in there and we have Pax providing trip damage, again, this kind of right hand or left hand side for them, right hand side for us. You can kind of watch that side, and you can apply a lot of pressure to deny anybody coming from that side, while me and Glum get all the rest of the picks on the left. And we're here, unfortunately, Glum just kind of stuck in a weird position there against that Kraken. And now we kind of are in a position where we're forced to scramble here. I end up dying. The Reflighter doesn't quite hit the zone, but that's all we could do in that moment. I don't think there was necessarily anything wrong there. We did the best from the positions that we could. It was just an unfortunate kind of, we had to scramble to that zone and weren't quite able to get there. Overall, pretty good game. There were obviously things we can improve on. I think there were a lot that we did right in that match as well. That's important to remember. Okay, moving on to Tower Haggle. This one was a pretty uphill battle until the last kind of moments. So we'll kind of analyze what went wrong there and exactly what we did right to get that push at the end. Okay. So loading out, yeah, we have the right idea. We're going fast. I like to see this. It's great to have a fast entry. If we can get into these positions and hold them faster, we're in a good spot, especially right now since their aerospray is honestly kind of wasting time inking their base. That means we have a 4v3 in mid, right? We're already at a man advantage. Of course, that's kind of hard for us to realize in the moment, but if we just take the fight going into it, you know, and we have the mindset of getting there faster and holding down the space faster, that when, you know, when they just do have a 3v4, then we kind of automatically win that. I think that we didn't push forward as much. I also did get a little bit scared there, but then I saw Glum going left side. I was like, let me go here too. That was a good play by the both of us. I think that right there, this would have been a great opportunity, right? Look how far up we are. I didn't hit to make that visible. Okay, yeah. So we're all the way up here on this left-hand side. Right now, Pax, Arkrantz, you're a bit further back. If you could be kind of just in front of this tower line, honestly, Arkrantz, if you're sitting like just right about here, you don't even have to be too far up mid, right? Just enough to kind of threaten this general area. And Pax, you can start riding the tower. That provides the perfect opportunity for me and Glum to come in pinch and try to finish off anybody, especially if they're trying to fall back and retreat up this ramp. But you can see I'm already going. I'm going hard for that ramp. I pick off that aerospray there. We do get on the tower, so still we ended up making it work. I think just a little bit slower than we could have. Brush comes out, finds a pick, strikes come out. Yeah, not a whole lot we can do about that. Unfortunate jump there. I think that when you start seeing people going down, you just need to try to remember to take those jumps wisely. I'm also the world's worst person about like making terrible jumps, so you can take my criticism there with a grain of salt, knowing that I exactly love to do that. I ran straight into that Kraken because I didn't see it. I didn't realize everybody was on the right hand side. Tower's going left, so us being all on that right, you know, it was a little bit of a problem. I had assumed we had some people up here. This is kind of where you want to be looking for this defense. Here at check 1, under this tent, you can kind of bomb out. Pax, you can probably slosh there and reach the tower. Maybe even Nautilus can reach the tower from there. Strikes, we have them, but now they're no longer in a position to be able to try to do anything about this tower push. So us all moving this way, we definitely should look at on or retake. If they've got that tower, we want to kind of drop up here and take this position out up on the top. Yeah, see we have strikes coming out now. They land in mid and kind of just do a whole lot of nothing there as that tech point falls. And now everybody's kind of out of position to be able to defend that tower. I'm going to go ahead and head here on that left-hand side, but now I'm getting walled out by strikes and bombs, so it's getting a bit difficult. I do have to fall back here. There's bombs as well. I am able to eventually get back up here and stop this checkpoint at this moment in time, but this is a really scary positioning. You know, if somebody had hopped across, like, great positioning is if when this tower is going ahead and following this tower path down, ooh, I'm expanding it, is when it's following this tower path right here, right around this corner, if any one of them, especially that brush, had hopped right here across and gone onto our tent, we would have been completely locked out, right? So that's why we want to really make sure that we're holding that checkpoint, or holding this area around checkpoint 1, because once they clear, we don't have to stop checkpoint 1, right? Checkpoint 1 is relatively easy enough to get. It's checkpoint 2 that's really the hard checkpoint. So, but if we lose complete control of this area after check 1, it's going to be really hard to stop check 2. And once you lose check 2, the game's pretty much over. Yeah, here the Kraken comes out. We're able to hold it off a little bit because Kraken cannot stay on tower in this current patch. This was a good rain, I think. Maybe just angling it a tad more so where it goes kind of this way across this, or even like if you can get an angle to where it goes this way. Most of it does end up off the map here, but it does clear out that tower, so I'm not too upset about that. That's fine. It accomplished its goal, but you can maybe get a little bit more out of it if you just angle it a little bit differently. Pax, this is a great crab, by the way. That's a great crab to break us back into mid. You're applying a lot of pressure. We're able to get a pick on the Explo, so really good job at calling out that crab here. Glum, you're moving in off that. I love to see that. Doesn't last quite as long. And again, this was talking about the same night as a scrim. These strikes super duper early. We had a crab to come in, right? We could have taken this tower and then tried to use those strikes to prolong our push. We didn't necessarily need them to break back into mid, and if we did, right, let's say we did, let's put them a little bit further. Right now they kind of landed right here. Everybody just kind of backed up just a tad and then went in. I think we actually gain a little bit more if you kind of throw them behind them, cutting off their route of escape. And especially as the brush, right? Now I'm coming around, or I could have just charged through mid with your strikes if you're calling them out ahead of time. And now I can apply a lot of pressure because now their choice is either to fight me as the paintbrush, and, you know, at worst for me, I'm going to take a trade there. I'm probably not going to go down without taking anybody. And the best situation for me is that they either just die or they try to retreat from me and they run into the strikes and die. So definitely just think about the strike positioning and where you're applying that pressure. I do unfortunately go down to the brush there. And now we kind of just have to hold. We're doing a good job holding down that corner. Pax is moving now. That's the right idea. We want to get onto that left-hand side so that we're not all just stuck on the right. Again, when we're dealing with them potentially taking tower, all being on right is kind of dangerous. I do think, fortunately, this is kind of where I move in and happen to get quite lucky here. We end up finding our quad. And now, so now we have a wipeout. So the idea now is to take tower and move as fast as possible to get up into their base. So I sit on it for a second until we can find somebody. I switch with Arkrans. That's fine, Arkrans or Pax. I think ideally Pax is the tower rider in this comp, but Arkrans can hold it if Pax is unavailable. Definitely shouldn't be near Glum unless the situation calls for it specifically, that we just need somebody on tower in that moment and we're the closest by. This is okay. Not the best situation, I think, but not terrible. I died to Jokura here, and now that brush is able to supply a lot of pressure. Strikes a little bit late, I think, here when you see that we've already lost people. I'm actually not quite sure. You may have popped them before we went down. I can go back and look from your POV for just a second to make sure I'm not just, like, totally lying here. But if they were after we go down, let's just like hold them, right? I'd rather you just die without them because you'll lose less of your special that way, and then we can potentially... Oh, I didn't hit. Go. Okay, let's go. And you are... Okay. Let's see. You're getting your strikes online. You have them. Yep, I'm down. Yeah. I think in that position, when you see a brush coming at you, I think we just hold the strikes there, because we're not able to gain too much ground off of this. This is where we like don't even end up breaking that check, right? We can hold that for a little bit longer if you back up. Even it gives us a better opportunity to use that strikes if we want to use it to hold space. Not the best use of them, but even backing up there before using them would be a little bit more ideal, I think. In just your positioning so that we're not immediately going down after that and not really providing much to support the tower. Kraken, unfortunately, is doing what Kraken does. It's going to displace us, find some picks. Joker is really good at getting those Krakens into some really scary positionings. I drop here. I think this might have been... No, that actually is just well. Okay, so me and Glum fighting there together is really good. Unfortunately, I don't think I realized Glum is all the way up there. Otherwise, I would have aided your fight. So that's a little bit of my bad for hesitating. I should have moved forward there. We could have pitched that a little bit better if I had been a little bit more confident there. Because now it just kind of leaves Glum and Arcrance here just on the respawn after Pax went down. Again, these strikes are coming out. But there's not really too much of a game plan. They kind of land in random spots on the map. We don't have tower going in our favor yet. We didn't really take any space off them. So definitely want to make sure that we're calling our specials. Our specials need to have purpose to them. I trade out that splash down there. Not the best trade in the world, but better than not taking it, because I was probably going to die anyways, being quite honest. There wasn't really a great way for me to get on those strikes. Great 2 picks here, right? So now we need to take that space. I'm moving forward. We all need to kind of charge off this. I drop into that left-hand side because I get really injured, and I do unfortunately go down to that splashdown. Now it's Pax. Pax is doing a great job holding space. Arcrance making sure that you're up there with Pax is good, and now Glum, this is great. Getting behind them, and now we can try to pinch, but unfortunately we go down. I don't think that was anything you did wrong. We went down, which was unfortunate. That was an okay strike. Getting them off that tower and allowing us to regain positioning, that was a good strike. It was on the tower, and it provided something very useful for us to be able to break back in. Now we've got our cramps on that tower, and we're able to start pushing again. This is that really good positioning. So definitely Brush, need to keep an eye on it. It almost gets us here, but Pax calls it out. I remember Pax calling that out, getting a great pick there. That definitely saves our game. Thank you, Pax. Pax getting on that tower and now trapping. That's really good. And now I'm just going to move up. This is the thing. Strikes actually on that ramp is good. I don't know too much about the one that went over here. Maybe it was aimed for 10. If it was aimed for 10, oops, I'm moving the whole screen and not my cursor. Okay. Oh my gosh. Can I just grab the cursor? Thank you. Yeah, so this guy, if it was meant for here, that's fine. That would have been a fine place to strike. I do think either way the Explo kind of falls down because it gets scared. This was a good strike on ramp, especially since I'm moving up it. Helps aid me through there and gives me a little bit of cover from that Explo who now doesn't know my exact positioning. And of course, strikes here is always going to be really good. So these were pretty good strikes. Just maybe one was slightly misaimed. That happens. That's fine. But I'm able to get out here. I don't remember who called it. Somebody called out the strikes. That was really good. That allowed me to quickly turn around and find strings and find the pick there onto Jokura. So that's exactly the good kind of communication we need. Obviously, there's no call-outs here in this VOD because this is my actual replay from the game. But I do remember the call coming out, so that was good. Definitely want to keep up that kind of communication. I'm able to now move up, and this is the kind of lockout positioning we want to see. Obviously, it's ideal if more of us are actually alive and not respawning, but we do what we do here because it's overtime and we're pushing. So ideal situation, right, is going to be Pax or Arcrance, preferably Pax on the tower. I'll go ahead and get up here on this left side and really be able to apply pressure both around here on this corner and up here onto this ledge to be able to stop anybody from coming. And that kind of allows for you, Glum, you can go up this ramp and fight with Arcrance down here in this area, because if I'm slinging paint over here, they're going to have to back up. Arcrance has the range to be able to kind of shoot up into this area and maybe be able to find anybody that I've chipped, as well as you can throw bombs if you have them on Glum to be able to just kind of abide or be able to provide additional chip up here, right? Because if they've got a paintbrush sloshing or slinging at them, they've got the Nautilus shooting, they've got bombs exploding up here. Most of the time, their option's going to be to just drop down here. And then that's kind of when you can just point your gun at them and shoot them together. Needless to say, though, that it doesn't happen here because we're not all alive, but it doesn't matter because we end up making it work anyways. We're able to respawn in time and able to get that lead. So that's a really good play. That was a good overtime. Really good example of what to do. We stayed cool under that pressure and we're able to come back. I just realized I don't have to watch that every time. This is a replay. I'm really smart. Okay, Manta Maria Rainmaker. This was a really good one, if I recall, for us. This will be a good opportunity to focus on what we do really well. Already we're opening pretty fast. You can see that we're pretty much 3 out of 4 of us are already up here at this wall, ready to go up here towards street and bunker, while most of them are still hanging out back here in their spawn around mast up here. You know, the only one that's really closest Explo, ironically, might be the furthest up for them because it's still going to take Jokura a second to clear walls. So yeah, really good fast opening. I'd like to see that continue. Yep, we're able to go up, be able to come up here. Now we have control of our bats, and we're already here. Glum is in a great position to apply a lot of pressure there. Be able to get some sneak picks. We do let them have pop, that's fine. Manta, in my opinion, is a map where pop isn't quite as important. You have bunker, you have grates, you have a lot of places to be that aren't necessarily affected by pop. Of course, just don't be on top of the grates, like right when it pops, otherwise you might die. But none of us were, so that's fine. Glum's able to get in here and get a really good flank onto Jokura. Unfortunately, the splashdown does come out, but that's more than enough because now I'm able to come up here, up this wall, and apply additional pressure, able to force out that Explo. Unfortunately, do go down to that arrow spray. So given that, what we want to see here, right, when we have that man advantage, because Glum did that flank, I don't remember if he called the flank out Glum, but if you do, in the future, just make sure you say, hey, I'm flanking their bunker, push up, so that we can take advantage of your positioning to come in and get any extra damage on them that we may need to force them out, right? Because now we have our Krantz back here at the beginning of our grates, where positioning, right, if you had been up here, closer to their side of grates, could be firing over here towards strings or towards this arrow spray. Potentially I could have lived there, and then we could have been, you know, 3 up, which would be a much better positioning. Pax, you're all the way back here. After that pop goes off, right, definitely move forward. Kind of, you can even just sit under bunker, right? Right under these grates and kind of slosh up here again, providing additional pressure with everybody else. Or if you see somebody, there is nobody on this left-hand side, but if you see people there, you can also try to go over there. But right here is kind of a bit far back. So you do see they are able to respawn. They have more people up now, so they have a little bit more pressure. Joker is moving there, but we do find a great pick. That was a good reef slider. Doesn't find any picks, but it had the right idea. We were trying to apply pressure, and look at that. You know, while that reef slider didn't get a pick, right now Strings is backed up. Now that Explo is back there, they're all kind of pitted together in that corner and aren't able to do a whole lot. So it still provided us space. That was a good reef slider. Definitely, I think that we can move up off it a little bit more. Glum, if you're more towards where strings are, when that reef slider goes off, potentially could help find a kill there. But not in a horrible position, right? This left-hand side, for example, if the Explo had gone up and tried to drop where you are instead, that would be a really good position to be in. So kind of situational, depends on if you know where everybody is. So not a huge nitpick there, just a potential idea. Either way, good reef slider from Pax. We're able to find the pick onto strings there, and now this is great. Pax picks up pretty fast. We're able to move up here. I think unfortunately the brush does kill us. Yeah, right there, right before we're able to dunk, but that's good speed, right? And now that still allows us to hold control here. Glum's able to come in here and sweep this dunk in, and we're able to take out that brush. Now they're 3 down. This is really good positioning. I'm going to go ahead and here. This is one of those positions where I think it doesn't really matter who picks up the Rainmaker. We are in just a good position to apply a lot of pressure there and run really fast, right? We are not going to, you know, get a dunk off that more than likely on Manta because there's so much space between this pedestal. You've got to go all the way through their street, drop and go down here, right? You're probably not getting a push like that unless you get back-to-back wipes, which is just not super realistic. So in that case, it's literally just pop and go as soon as you can, especially when we have man advantage. So that's what we did here. That was good. We're able to kind of hold it in this position for a little bit longer. Glum takes a nice trade there. Being able to stop that brush from coming out is actually really good. I think that was a great trade. I'm sitting here on this wall. I'm just going to go in. Literally, again, when we're in this kind of position, I think there's nothing wrong with just trying to sneak it. I think the only thing I would do different is I don't think I called that out. I'll make sure that I call that out in the future because I want people to know, hey, this is a suicide move. I'm going to go in. I'm going to pick up that Rainmaker. We're going to get points, but I am going to die, so don't follow me in. I kind of spar with strings here, try to get them out. I think I'm eventually able to. No, Joker gets it. I have 4 strings down, but do not get the pick. And now we kind of just hold this Rainmaker. That's fine. Holding it on Greats here is actually maybe under Greats. I think on Greats is a little bit better, but also not anything too much. We're still holding it. We're kind of just stalling time. That's fine. At 7 remaining, right? It's great anytime we can stall time. We don't have to necessarily make some extra effort on a push. As long as we can continue to try to keep it towards their side of the map, I think that's all that really matters in these moments. That was a really good stalling effort from Pax there. Arkrantz was doing a really good job holding down that Rainmaker, not allowing them to pop. A really good effort there. And now that brush really just can't do anything. The strikes are coming out, but they're not going to be able to do much off of it. They try to zoop me over here. I'm able to avoid it, and I'll pick them off. That's a great, excellent work. I was able to distract them, and able to move in and get the clear. That's really awesome. Now we're in a great position where I'm just going to rush it. I don't think I actually get anything extra off of this, but, you know, I'm able to just keep it on their side of the map, and that's what we want to do. This is, again, when you have, like, 3 or 4 versus 1, it really doesn't matter who picks up that Rainmaker. Whoever is closest, pop it. If it needs to be popped, pick it up, move it forward, or find it somewhere nice to stall, right? This map isn't as generous with stalling spaces. I would say, you know, your best, like, quote-unquote best stalling place on these kind of maps would maybe be the opponent bunker or like one of these sides, but even then these aren't perfect, right? Because they pop here. Well, if they get a good man advantage, they can just hop it across and maybe get a push, right? Bunker, same idea, is that they can just go across. This map isn't as generous with its stalling, so I think on a map like Manta Maria, it's especially important that we just pick it up and run it whenever we're able to, and we have that advantage. Again, this is just kind of a neutral game. This is fine. We're waiting it out. We're able to avoid those strikes. That's good. Glum gets a great pick on the brush there. Unfortunately, can't finish off strings as well, but that's okay. I'm able to finish off strings. And again, we're just kind of taking trades. Right now, we're in the position where we can afford trades, so that's totally fine. Unfortunately here, they do take it that right-hand side. We're not able to realize quite fast enough. Arkrantz does find that pick after podium, so that's really good. Glum is now able to finish off some people in mids. That split up actually ends up being okay. It can be a little bit dangerous, like if Arkrantz hadn't stopped that. If it had gone down, then Glum might be a little bit out of position, but it ended up working out. So again, that's kind of just that situational awareness. Glum, you were fine since we got the pick. If you see something like that happen and you see Arkrantz go down, then definitely make a fast effort to get back towards stopping that Rainmaker. Again, great reef slider there into that bunker, really clearing it off. And again, we're able to just kind of stall it there. We do wipe, that's fine. When we wipe, we respawn closer together, right? Me and Glum are now coming out together, and now our Krantz and Pax are going to come out kind of together. I'm able to get it here. Like, you see, now we're already all here together. Jokura is back up, does have that Zuka, but we kind of just keep an eye on them. I remember a call coming out to where they were, so now Glum is able to turn around and get that trade. Excellent trade there, by the way. That really works out well in our favor, and now we can kind of just hold down this space. The Booyah Bomb does clear us out a little bit, unfortunately. But look at this, our Krantz beautiful, holding them out there. We do eventually go down, but able to stall out that space is great. Glum going in a little low, and that's a little bit dangerous. I would say maybe go up here, right? Up here, especially when you saw they're gonna drop it and go back right, you can kind of sit on this wall and wait for them and just kind of pop over when they least expect it. So definitely just make sure that when we're in these kind of overtime situations and we start losing people, you aren't too quick out the gate. Again, see, Pax, good job not dropping here. Same thing, I'm not going to drop, because once you drop, you're in a really dangerous position. We're able to pick them out there, able to end that game. That was a really good effort. Okay, crab leg. So this is, oops, not upload, play. This is another one where I think it just came down to a matter of speed. Also on this map, I think we kind of just lost our fights. It's a little bit unfortunate. Not as much that can be getting down about that, right? We'll learn to win our fights together as time comes, as we were going through mechanics together. It's not something I'm super worried about right now, right? The teamwork, positioning, call-outs, that's all a little bit more important to me at the moment. Mechanics will come. And even I'm losing all my fights to Jokura, I think, on this one, besides this opening one, because my mechanics on Brush are just not as good as hers. Yeah, I end up here, I am pretty out of position here, honestly, and then I run out of ink, and that kind of shows, right? I probably could have backed up there a little bit sooner. Pax moving up, that would be a good reef slider if we had plans to go off it. I think that since we had no control of objective, it didn't quite do as much for us there. Now I'm just going to try to sit here and stall on this ramp and make sure I'm not going too far to guys this brush. And again, it's just, this is a hard map to break back into. It's very neutral heavy, very stally, right? And even then, like, even with just me up, right, they couldn't find a way into our base at all until they get that full wipe. And now you see how fast, right? They got that wipe, and look immediately where they are, right? Jokura, immediately up here on this top left side of our base. Strings and the arrow spray already moving up that ramp, ready to score. By the time that our first person Glum respawns here, they're already scoring, they're already underway, right? And we can see Jokura and this Explo really holding down this top right, while the two shooters are holding down that plat, and they're able to, you see that Explo crossfires onto Glum as well, and is able to get a pick there. So that's really strong positioning. That's like, I think that what we're looking at in our comp would be potentially like me. Oh, I left the I left the cursor on, but like I think that, you know, mirror it, right? You would want to see me moving up into this area in space as far as I can, with Pax potentially hanging around here on these grates to kind of aim up here. And, you know, so the thing about that too is starting a push, you may want to reef slider in, right? You may not want to push here to begin with, up here, right? Because that's kind of hard. So what you can do even is that if the Krantz and Glum or Strings move in with you, when you reef slide through here, you can kind of explode your reef slider, they can start scoring, and you can actually paint the side of this little wall that's like literally right here, and you can go up it, up to grates, and then you can continue to support from over there. And I think that would be a really good potential positioning for you on a push, Pax. So yeah, right now we can learn from them what they're doing right. Right now, this is a hard map to keep control on, so they do fall out. Now we've got to kind of push up. We got to take advantage of the fact that only that Explo was up. Unfortunately, the Brush is able to get the jump in. It does find the pick onto me there, or onto Glum there, and then I think eventually picks me as well. So that's kind of shows the importance of moving out fast, right? If we had gone out there a little bit faster, maybe could have picked that Explo before it allowed jumps in. Or we could have also seen that jump and got it as it landed. So you gotta really be pretty fast whenever you realize that you have a man advantage on this map, because otherwise you kind of just get locked out. Again, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of a stagger there. We're definitely repositioning here, right? Now we're making sure that we're gonna go in together as a team. We're able to find a pick there. I think I just, again, kind of eat shit to Joker because that's just how it goes. So again, look at this fight, right? They're trying to take it together. That Explo is cross-shooting with Jokura's Brush, really applying a lot of pressure there. I see the attempt there at the reslider. Again, I think this is a great idea. Like, if we had somebody to push through it, if I had known, we could have potentially gotten that Explo out of there. Maybe you wouldn't have gone down. Or if you had Cooler, say if Scrim is with us, you can just jump out immediately after that. That reslider. I think the reslider, I get the idea behind it. It was a good idea. We just didn't really have anybody to follow up off of it. That's just a team coordination thing. The reslider itself was fine. Strings is able to get up here on the side, and we aren't able to notice that in time. It does, yeah, they are able to pick out packs, and now we've just kind of got them behind while I'm moving forward. Strings does eventually jump out, but I'm not really able to hold out this space super well, right? Because we're just kind of all disconnected, so we need to move up a little bit faster together. Of course, you know, having clams to score is another, it's a secondary issue. We can kind of allow 3 people to get up into their spawn and have a 4th member, probably Pax or Arcans, looking for clams at that time to be able to get us a score. But it's just going to be a matter of kind of learning our pace, learning how to gather clams as we move forward. All stuff that'll come with time. I think that's going to be a really good thing to focus on next week, is really learning those clam spawns and where to look as we move forward to try to find some objective to score. Yeah, again, so that was, again, I think a really good idea for a reslider, but unfortunately it just didn't have any follow-up. I feel like, Pax, your knowledge and your intuition about when to use reslider is pretty good. You have well thought out positionings on where you want to place them, but we just need to coordinate a little bit better off them as a team. Good pick there, Glum. Good pick there, Glum. We're able to find 2 there. And trade the Brush. Yeah, that's huge. This is that wipeout. This is where we talk about. So immediately I'm here, and so this is what we were talking about with speed. Okay, so Pax was dead. We were incorrect with that. But immediately Arcant's going back. I get the idea of wanting to go for that ball. I think you just need to move forward, right? We have 2 people dead. Somebody who's dead can grab that ball and jump in. But by going back and not supporting me in that fight, right, we get this break and we just lose and we have no follow-up off of it. Where potentially if you had come in with me, Glum or Pax could have jumped in with that and we could have had additional pressure there. Maybe I wouldn't have gone down, maybe I wouldn't have. Or maybe I wouldn't have, maybe I would have, but we would have had a second person there to jump to, right? So we would have been maybe able to get that down to 60 and grab that lead. So just, yeah, don't worry about pity on a wipe if people are respawning. If everybody is up, right, somebody does need to go back for it. In that case, I think our transport packs are fine options, but it's just, again, kind of that situational awareness of realizing we have 2 people respawning, I just need to take space, one of them can grab that clam, and making sure that we're doing a good job of communicating that. Just saying, like, hey, one of you respawning, grab that clam, and get it in. And then, of course, Jokura here is kind of just able to sneak in and grab that power. Not a whole lot that we could do about that there. I think that's just, it's just a speed thing, right? We just got to realize when we have that advantage and look at our HUD more often so that we know, like, hey, this is probably a safe time to be able to try to take a fight and push forward and claim more space. Oops. Okay. Robo Ramen. Okay, this was another good one. This was the God Slider from PAX. I mean, PAX was not good for sliders, but this was like the particular God Slider. Okay. So again, seeing this load out, we're gonna drop in. We're moving pretty fast. I already like our speed. We're faster than them. That's great. I am expecting one of them to be up on this time. Now, this is probably not packs. This is probably strings exploiting exactly what he knows I'm gonna do, right? Because I've said I love to kind of fire up here on this area. So what does strings do? Instead drops down here, and now I've got to reposition and kind of re-aim where I'm looking at. And that ends up kind of pulling me away from the action. I do get a pick there, right? But now that leaves Jokura free to kind of just drop on me. And gets a nice Zuka there as well onto us. Glum, great jump out. Arkrance, this is a great time to realize that you're alone and kind of back up just a little bit. You don't have to jump out, right? Since you're already kind of in our base. But just repositioning so that when Glum lands, Glum will be with you would be a little bit safer. But we do get a pretty good push out here, right? We're able to take this space fast. Great re-slider there from Pax to force people back, and we're able to kind of clear out this space. Just looking to try to pick out that brush now, which does go down and pick out Arkrance, but there was a call out there, so I knew where they came at. So that was good communication. We were able to kind of really get in there, hold that for just a little bit, but now unfortunately, we do have to back up. Just a tad. Pax is doing a great job holding space. They aren't threatening you too much there, and once they do, then you start to back up a little bit more. I trade out. Good re-slider there from Pax, but again, we just need to make sure to move up off it a little bit faster. Like, we do end up getting that zone, right? But if we had moved up with that, we could have capped that zone probably almost instantaneously, and then been here quick enough to stop Jokura from being under that ledge, right? So that we probably could have just picked Jokura without taking that trade, because that trade was pretty good for her. Because now, right, we're all respawning, we're having to wait here. These strikes are able to push us out, that bomb's able to push us out. We do hold that zone, right? But if we had a little bit less paint, right, or an unlucky bomb hit one of us, it'd be a really different story. Again, right now, I think we're a little bit too hesitant here. I'm over here, I'm over kind of poking on that glass, right? Arkrance, you kind of fall back here. I get it looks a little bit scary, right? I think if you just kind of hold positioning kind of around this pillow, you can kind of shoot up here and provide a little bit extra pressure and hold just a little bit more space for us. Again, this will all come with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more time knowing the comp and how exactly we want to play it. So we're still doing really good here. And again, look at that. Great effort. And we're able to kind of pull it together and realize that. Now, this is a good time to back up, right? This is when we realize, hey, we're facing a lot of pressure. We do need to back up. So that's a great time to back up. And this is where the God Slider comes out, I believe. Yep. Here it comes. Finds 2. Huge drop from Pax there. I'll say for capping the zone, I don't think you need to go as far back, right? So you kind of slosh right here, and you're able to cover this side of the zone. You can kind of just come to right here, and then slosh from right here in this corner to cover the rest of it. Instead, you go all the way back. Not super necessary. It's just a little bit of a time killer, right? You do turn around, you do come back. It's just kind of like just knowing the positioning to cover that zone can save you just like a second or two, which can end up mattering when you need to get into some key positions. Right now we're doing good, Glum. I'd prefer you to be up a little bit with me. I kind of have to fall back right here because I don't have a lot of support, and ultimately I end up going down to these strikes, right? Maybe you could have taken out that strike before it went off if I had your support up there. Again, Pax trying to clear that up. Good idea on that re-slider, does find 2, looking to find that 3rd, but unfortunately that eject comes out. Could have maybe kept you alive if we had some extra paint there, if we went on it. Again, I just think we need to move in with Pax's sliders. Pax has really good sliders, so we just need to make sure that they're getting called out in enough time for us to react to them. Overall, really good. Everything, like all the stuff that I'm saying here, really are just kind of minor nitpicks, right? They're just small things that kind of save us a little bit of time or a little bit of space, but overall, like, this is a huge performance increase even from like just last week, right? I can tell that we're playing a lot faster. We seem to be a lot more comfortable playing around each other's styles. Obviously, it'll get even better with some more time, but really everything in that match was really good, just really some kind of little minor nitpicking. You see him stopping us. I'm like looking at the timer and I'm like, this video that I'm using. I'm like, wow. I'm taking less time on each consecutive game. That's because we're getting better and better each game. We're doing more and more stuff right each game, so there's less I have to pause and talk about. And that's really good. It's good to see, like, really, even from first game to where we are now in this scrim, I can see, like, almost instant improvement. So, again, we're moving out pretty fast here. Love to see this. Love to see it fast move out, right? Glum, I would say Glum, come with me, maybe. I would maybe switch Glum and Arkrantz's positionings here. Nautilus, Spotlings in general, always really strong on Greats, right? Just because of your run speed. So I think Not would be good. It also has a little bit more range to be able to try to pressure out a backline that decides to set up back here like this Tri-Stringer as you come up here and kind of can play around with this pillow space to provide you a little bit extra protection. As where if I drop right down here, which I'm about to, right, having some fast paint and somebody able to kind of maybe like split this little wall with me and go on either side so that we can immediately pressure someone like Strings here, may be a little bit better. So in the future, I'd like to maybe see that have Glum roll out with me on the right-hand side and have Arkrantz kind of look towards those Greats. Pax, I think your positioning out here is fine. You can kind of just get up here, get around this tower, and maybe even like a little bit to the left of it, right? Maybe an ideal opening for you is having me and Glum up here dropping fast this way, having Arkrantz up here, and having you kind of poke from either just getting on tower, right? Because we're out here faster, so you can honestly probably just hop on the tower and slosh left. But if tower doesn't quite look safe, even like sitting down under here or under this ledge in mid and just kind of sloshing up this way can probably be pretty helpful. Which it already looks like you have the right idea. You're sloshing left. Unfortunately, Glum goes down there. I'm able to get up here, try to get behind, but unfortunately ultimately go down to the brush. Now it's just Pax left up against the brush. A little bit of a scary position to be in. And Glum does kind of help force this back a little bit, but again, kind of just been caught out in that fight. Arkrantz, a little bit of a scary jump there. If there wasn't a Zuka, you would have gotten out of that alive. So that's like, yeah, just be a little bit more aware of it. Unfortunately, the Zuko is really the real reason you lost there. You were totally gonna get out, but specials, am I right? I'm stuck kind of alone in this pit. Not necessarily a huge issue. These are good strikes to kind of slow things down and get out. Unfortunately, I kind of just flubbed my fight down there in the pit and not able to make much effort out of that. Not able to really do anything. Again, now I'm able to kind of just sit here. As the tower approaches this second checkpoint, this left-hand side on that top is a really important place to keep hold up. We're able to do that, and you can see how easily we're able to force that tower out. Now we're able to move forward. This is great. Y'all are already putting a lot of pressure there. I see where Dokura is. I'm able to now move around on the rest of their members and kind of just apply a lot of pressure, right? Even I'm not necessarily finding picks there until then. Like, that was a long time I was just fighting and holding down space. But now I'm in a great spot, right? Because now I'm able to get up here. I'm able to take a position away from Jokura and away from everybody else before I ultimately go down. Unfortunately, we aren't on the tower here, though, right? Because that was quite a bit of time that we could potentially be pushing. ZR nap bar. Let's go back to 345 and just take a look at this. Right, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so Jokura is backing up here. Right, so now we have nobody on this side. So Pax is here. Okay, I see the issue. Okay, so Pax dropped here as the Zuka came out, right? So again, this is, I think, a kind of a situational awareness thing. So this is where I would say Glum pop on the tower. Like, you're the closest person there until Pax or Arkrantz can come take your space, right? I'm already up, we have the Tri-Stringer on that top right, right? They can't threaten the tower from that position. The only person who can threaten you right now is Jokura, and Jokura is focused on me, who's gotten around, so that was going to be a really good opportunity to just be able to push. Unfortunately, that tower resets, and we lose quite a few seconds off of that push there that we could be going. And now in that time, Jokura has been able to get back out, and now we just don't really get anything off of that. I'm very stuck alone out here. I do find a pick on Jokura, but go down to all the extra things that are there. Everybody else is doing a great job kind of waiting together. Arcan's going out here is a great positioning, able to find one there. That's really huge. Now just Strings left, Strings jumps out. Arcan does a really good play there. Really using those greats to your advantage. Exactly what we want to see when you're on Nautilus. And so yeah, now this is a great opportunity. We know that two are coming in from the right. We've got Jokura and that Tri-Stringer on the left, so we need to kind of split their attention. I'm going to go here on this left-hand side, and yep, Plum, your striking could have maybe held the strikes for a little bit better of an opportunity, right? Because you could have just rushed down that Tri-Stringer and maybe been able to pick them. Arkrantz does find it, but the push feels like a little bit awkward there, I think. Which is unfortunate. Not too much I can say about it, right? I still think that we had the right idea. It was just kind of some minor misplays. The jumps there, unfortunately, just aren't enough to keep that going. But we do kind of come back mostly together. Pax is going to go out just a little bit ahead and then pull back. That's a great pullback. Now we're all together, so now we really can take this fight together. So that was a good idea to realize that, hey, I'm a little bit alone. Let me just wait a second. Because you did that, look, now I'm able to find a pick on to two. Now we have all four up. I unfortunately go down to Izuka, right? But everybody else is up against just Jokura at that moment, and we're now able to start pushing again. That's a really good position to be in. So really good just kind of waiting to regroup with everybody. Again, here I'm able to find Jokura. And now this is where we can really get that push going, right? I'm on here, I'm looking at that Tri-Stringer. Now I notice that everybody's on that right-hand side. It's just Strings there. We're able to kind of collapse down on Strings. You notice that they're really the main threat there, right? Cool. Awesome. And now we've gotten the lead. So that's kind of what we needed that whole time. It all came together there in a really great way. And we're able to kind of just dance that tower just a little bit past check 2, which is fine. You don't need to go too much further past check 2. It's a really hard checkpoint to break. Obviously, if you can clear and you can just KO, great. It's not always going to be possible. It's most of the time going to be pretty hard unless you get a wipe. And I'm just waiting here for everybody. I know that, hey, if I go in right now, I'm going to be super out of position. So I'm just waiting. This is kind of the spot where we know that we just kind of need to wait out. I saw that Jet moved in on it. We're able to move in there. We've already got everybody else on that right-hand side, right? This gives me a really excellent opportunity to try to pinch there. Unfortunately, I was spotted out by Bazooka. Not much I can do about it. It's the delete button from that far away. But look at that. Still, even then, y'all are able to clear that up because we just waited for the right moments to take those fights together. So that was really excellent timing on our behalf. Pax pops a crab here, realizes that everybody else is on that left-hand side, able to switch it up and able to get and find some picks there. Nice crab there. And now we kind of know that we just kind of need to hold this tower. I remember call was made that we don't need to push that tower. That's right, we don't need to push that tower. We have such a staggering, well, 27 to 14 doesn't look that big, but when you have to break that checkpoint, that's a pretty staggering lead. And now I'm behind. Now we're just in the perfect position to pinch, right? Pax is looking there. We have strikes. I'm coming in from behind. That pinch is absolutely excellent. We're able to clear off that tower. Really, really well played there game from us. Little minor moments just on some kind of pushes where we could have been just in slightly different places. But overall, we did really well there. We broke back in together. I saw a lot more patience on retakes of waiting till everybody was together, waiting to drop in together and take fights together. And we were able to pull off a lot more successful kind of pinces to find our way back in. And I think that's really good. That's how we need to be able to retake space. So really excellent job. Rainmaker Humpback, one of my favorite maps. Because it's so silly. It's so silly and goofy. I'm silly and goofy. And also, I remember this one going pretty dang well from us. So the plan was to push out right pretty fast with me and Blum. Blum, I didn't realize you meant that far right. I mean, it's fine. I usually just throw a curling bomb right here and just go through mid right, right? I guess when I say hard right, I mean like I'm gonna take it through mid and immediately go towards check. I see what you meant. Honestly, kind of fire. I think it was fine, right? Because especially like curling bomb is super telegraphed, right? I don't think we both want to be rushing through curling bomb on my opening, especially when you're a shooter and you have really good mobility on your own. So like it wasn't what I was expecting, but honestly, kind of good. Kind of liked it, right? Because now I'm going over here, Jokura sees me, right? And is able to pick me off as I take strings, but now you can just finish off Jokura because Jokura wasn't expecting that pick, right? So a really, really excellent play there. I'm going to back it up for just a second, right? Because I want to make one more comment, which was, right, so we look here, I get a pick on strings, we get a pick onto Jokura, and immediately we go ahead and we pick up that Rainmaker, right? Really good. That's the kind of fast opening we want to see, right? Within 20 seconds, we're already at check 1. 19 seconds, we're at check 1. That's really awesome. So that's kind of what we want to see out of this map. We want to have that fast opening. If we can find a pick on right, as soon as that Rainmaker pops, we want to pick it up as fast as possible. Good stalling over here. Those strikes can be pretty scary, but we're able to get popped anyways. We're going to keep that pressure up, trying to move forward, right? We just want to get as much as we can. Unfortunately, Zuka comes out. Not too much that... Oh, excuse me. Not too much that we could do about that. Absolutely the right idea, right? We want to just hold as much pressure there as we can. Glum goes in, finds a pick, able to provide additional pressure. Jokura is here, I think unfortunately kind of just picks me out at the wrong moment. But absolutely right idea, right? We're keeping as much pressure, we just want to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And we're doing excellent there. This was a huge opening for us. I love that and want to see more of that. Good reslider there from Pax, but again, no one really able to follow up off of it. I do believe we get the Rainmaker still. Yes, we do still get the Rainmaker, so it ends up paying off. Could have been a little bit quicker if we had had somebody else there. We're able to pick up, and again, this is a situation where we have a lot of people up. We just need to pick that Rainmaker up and get going. I think I call for Pax to pick it up there, and I'm gonna move up and start trying to fight. We're able to pick up a bit of points there. Go down, that's fine, right? I don't care if we go down on these pushes, right? There's 3 minutes 30 seconds left on this clock. There's plenty of time to get more pushes in. This is not the push to end all pushes. We're just trying to get as much score on that board as possible. And that's kind of the right idea, I think, at that moment. So it was a really good effort there. And we're able to still just kind of stay alive in mid and kind of wait out all these specials that come out. Jokura is able to move up here. I do find the picks there. And now we've got 2 there on that right-hand side. I'm on this left-hand side. We have a lot of eyes all over mid. We're able to force that pick on the Rainmaker. That's huge, right? We're spread out in the right areas. We're kind of covering each other's faces. Now, again, this is where I'm like, let's move fast, right? I don't care that I'm the paintbrush and I should be fighting, right? We had a man advantage, and we needed to make immediate use off that. So I'm going to pick up that Rainmaker. We're able to get down 16. That wouldn't happen if we move too slow, right? So this is what I'm talking about. When we have fast plays, it doesn't matter who picks up objective. We just want to make the play happen fast because we have advantage in that moment, and we're not going to have advantage for long. So we have to make use of that. So that was a really good example, I think, of just pick up the Rainmaker. It doesn't matter who. If we are in a position to push and like basically the entire enemy team is wiped, we need to make sure that we're just going. And again, we're just trying to stall it. Someone made a great call that it was going left, and so I took that rail to kind of stop it, and we continued to apply that pressure. I told Pax to keep sloshing over that ledge there. Pax was able to do that. Exactly what we needed. Communication was really strong here in this moment. Again, I don't have the comms in this recording, but I do remember us talking about and bringing it to that left-hand side and keeping it there. Here, I called for Pax to just keep sloshing and keep pressure there until it reset, and we were able to stall it out just long enough. So that was a really great effort. Pax did go down, but that's completely fine, right? Because now Rainmaker's back in mid, they have to kind of reset to be able to get back in there. Zuka unfortunately finds some space, and Joker is able to move in. This was kind of just a huge unfortunate misplay by Strings, right? Going past the pedestal. we called that out. Now we're like, hey, this Rainmaker is now in front of pedestal. So we did a really good job of just applying pressure to it. I was like, we can pick it up, we can reset it. It doesn't matter if we drop it out of here because we're just stalling it now here at this point, right? Because they have to pick it up and pull it back. So having that situational awareness is really good. Here I said, let them pop it, right? Because they have to pick it up. Now they're just running straight into our ink as soon as they pick it up, right? Really good idea here is that now they have it kind of in an impossible situation, and now it's left for us to just be able to kind of drop down here and be able to kind of stall and guard. I said that I was going to stall it in this pit. Unfortunately, I went down, but I told Glum just move forward. I'm going to come in, I'm going to pick this up, we're going to stall it here in this pit, and I do that. I'm able to pick it up, and I'm going to switch to my POV for this because this is kind of like I won't always be the person to do this, right? If I'm in a good position to push forward, I do love stalling Rainmaker. It is something I consider to be a pretty strong talent of mine. So what I'm going to do here, right, is that I'm just looking for defensive angles to shoot this Rainmaker. I see somebody right here. I'm not going to shoot above the wall at them because the one thing that somebody's going to want to do is they're going to drop in on our Rainmaker, right? So I'm going to kind of shoot at walls where they may be dropping in. Look at that, able to find a fix, right? I'm just kind of shooting at places that I know the enemy wants to go so that I can kind of keep myself safe, right? And if I end up going down or trading, that's fine, right? I'm able to find a fix here and eventually go down to Jokura, but we stalled. I think that started at 30 seconds, and we were able to stall like 23 seconds off of that. Now that pit's a terrible place for that Rainmaker to be for them. They've got to really decide where they want to go, how they want to push, and they don't have a lot of time now. They've still got to break that check. So stalling Rainmaker, really, really strong. You have to know the maps that you can do it on. Like I said earlier in this recording, like Manta Rain, not a strong map for stalling. You just want to kind of push it. Humpback, complete opposite, right? If we push it into their base and we wipe, they have a free opportunity to pick it up and run pretty fast, right? They can come around that left side pretty fast. You don't really want it to be up there because from their base, they have a lot of good positions to be able to take that Rainmaker out. Being in that pit, really, really bad position for that Rainmaker to be. It's hard to pick it up there and make any movement off of it, and we can kind of just bomb that pit out. So it's a really, really strong position to hold that Rainmaker. So maps like this, maps like Scorched Gorge, any kind of map that has a big, large pit, right? Great place to stall the Rainmaker. Okay, final game here. Barnacle Clamplets. But this is one I think we kind of just got locked out on, unfortunately. Joker is really strong, Brush is really strong. This map, if you can get to the right spots, and I don't think we were quite able to get there. We had some good opportunities, but sometimes things just don't align. So we're gonna not zoom in on the plant basket. Come out. So we're pretty fast here on our opening, right? Which is good. I think it just doesn't end up going our way. Able to try to apply a lot of pressure here, but unfortunately I go down and then Glum goes down. And that'll happen sometimes, right? That's just the nature of an opening. It's not always going to go in our favor. We had the right idea. I don't think anything was particularly wrong with it. We just lost our fights, and that's sometimes how it's going to go. Not really, you can't microanalyze that, right? Just the fights went bad. That's okay. That happens sometimes. Moving out here though, right? I'm kind of alone. I don't have any support from anybody else. Now the rest of you are stuck with these missiles, and everybody's able to kind of just collapse in on you. Jokura has a really advantageous position here on this stack and is able to just kind of rain down. Me and Pax drop, probably not the right decision because now we're on the low ground as they continue to push. I do get a great pick there that drops the ball into pit. You know, not planned, but it just kind of happened. So happened to be good by happenstance, but was probably not the ideal place for me to be. I made the best out of a bad situation, but in the future, I would probably want to set up on that top right. Now Jokura is in a strong position. Whales kind of popped here. We didn't move really in off of it, and also I wasn't alive, so we weren't really able to make the best off that special. So we want to make sure that even Whale, right? Whale will do a good job tracking, and especially when they're on such a tall, skinny area like that plat, Whale can actually be a pretty strong retake special, at least in my opinion. You just have to have people move in off of it. It's not a special that's just going to remove them like Isuka will or like Strikes will. You have to do something with it. So we just need to be a little bit more careful about team coordination around that kind of stuff. And now like Bazooka, right, just picks us off. Joker is in a great position. Glum tries to come back around, but at this point, Glum is just fighting a 1v4. It isn't going to be able to do much off of that. Again, I make the bad decision to drop here. Now I'm stuck in a position right here where, you know, Brush has a great job, or has a great time trying to fire up over this. They're able to find a pick on me, and there's not a whole lot I can do on it. Now they're able to score. Joker is looking at this top left, right, is able to get picks up there, and now we're in a really scary position. I do pick up Jokura. This is the right idea, is going up here to this top right. That's where you do want to be. I think I slip. Oops. Oh well. I do make the best out of it. We're able to stop this push here. Now we have to move out fast, right? Glum's moving out pretty fast. Our Krantz packs, you want to be right up there with Glum. We need to move out just a tad bit faster because we're not quite able to secure mid all the way before they're back, right? This is a good reef slider. Unfortunately, I go down. I think it was to a bomb from Strings there. If I hadn't, I could have pressured off that pretty well. I dodge bombs like this on this game like crazy, if I'm recalling right. I think this was where I just like hatched bombs like they were eggs. Like I was just constantly dying to Strings bombs. And you know, I've got to be better at noticing those things, but that's how it'll be sometimes. Not a whole lot you can do about that. Sitting out here right now, we're in a good position. Pax needs to be a little bit more forward with us. Here's that wipe. We need to move up fast. Our Krantz, you're able to get that power. I think that you do end up getting it, right? But the faster option there is just to take the ramp, right? By the ramp, I mean the tiny little ramp that you can just jump off of, right? Because more than likely, you're going to die. The brush is right here. You're going to die no matter where you're dunking that from. So you might as well just take the faster option, because worst case scenario is you go up here to a brush, it kills you, and now the ball's stuck up here, and now we can't score, right? As where at least if it drops in the pit, if one of us is able to even touch it, we might still have enough time to get it into the basket before we die. Additional score is great going up on that top left, like Glum able to follow up here, unfortunately misses, does pick it up, right? Additional score coming up the ramp is fine. That's not where your primary basket open should come from. Unless there's like a reason, if everybody's dropped in that pit and you know all 4 of them are there and that you're safe if you take that top left, sure, go for it. But that's not going to be the case most of the time. Again, here we're kind of just in that neutral game. Unfortunately, Pax gets tanked as Azika out, is able to find some good value. I'm stuck out here. Unfortunately, I don't notice the Booyah Bomb that comes in right there. I was waiting to try to pick off Jokura as she moved up, but just died to that Booyah Bomb. I don't know how I would have gotten out of that situation realistically. The Booyah Bomb was just well placed to kind of get me. And now they're in a great position here, right? I'm up on this top left. This is where I should be to defend. I am able to try to move in, but just, there's too much pressure there. If they didn't have Azuka, maybe I would have been able to do something and get in a little bit faster. I was a little bit spooked by that. And we drop in. We do a good job clearing them out. We're really fast, but now Glum is kind of alone. I would have moved forward with Glum had I realized. Just another kind of thing, like Strings said in the strategy pack, me and Glum need to play around each other a little bit more, and I think that's kind of a moment where it's evident, right? Glum goes down there, maybe could have been different if I had been further up with Glum. Now this is great, right? Now me and Glum are up together. We're able to try to find some picks. Strings is now stuck there, but unfortunately does get the pick. And this is kind of just how clams goes. Right now we're in a bad position. We don't have the clams. Overtime is about to start. We could have maybe gotten a clam in here if we had jumped it in, but we didn't quite realize, and now we're all wiped. So, is what it is, right? Not too much we can do about it. Good effort nonetheless. Still a lot to learn there. A lot about how we can push. I think right now, Clam Blitz is probably our weakest mode. So just working on that communication, working on clam gathering, and figuring out where we need to be as we make our pushes is going to be really important. But overall, this scrim really impressive. A lot of improvement over the previous week. I can see that we're getting a lot more comfortable with each other, noticing each other's positionings a lot better, really just kind of getting that instinctual feel. I think that's starting to come to us, knowing when to go into or with each other, knowing when to hold back, right? Just some minor things that need improvement, and really just the biggest thing I think is going to be communication and coordinating kind of specials as we make our pushes. So really, really good scrim, guys. Really, really proud of how we did here. These matches were really good, really strong, really close, even though on the ones that we did lose, they weren't just like total knockouts, right? So really good work. Let's keep it up and get better week by week.